originally built as a collier and named Earl of Pembroke. It was launched in 1764. Then, 4 years later, it was purchased by the British Royal Navy. It was renamed His Majesty's bark Endeavour and converted to carry out a scientific expedition. The main purpose of the expedition was to observe the transit of Venus across the Sun at a Pacific location, but the Admiralty also assigned Cook a confidential task of searching the South Pacific for the postulated unknown southern continent, Terra Australis Incognita. The ship departed from the port of Plymouth in August 1768. After a short stop in Madeira, it continued its journey across the Atlantic Ocean and arrived in the port of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, in mid-November. By January, it had sailed around the southern tip of South America and reached the Pacific Ocean. In mid-April, the ship anchored off the island of Tahiti, where the crew spent 3 months. The next destination was New Zealand, in October. After they circumnavigated and charted the 2 islands, the journey continued to eastern Australia, where the ship arrived in April 1770. Unfortunately, however, on the 11th of June, the Endeavour struck a reef, was badly damaged, and was only saved through enormous effort. After the ship was repaired, it continued its journey. Passing New Guinea and Java, the expedition arrived in Batavia, present-day Jakarta, the headquarters of the Dutch East India Company, in mid-October. During the 2.5 months they spent there, a number of members of the crew caught malaria and died. After replenishing drinking water and food reserves on Panaitan Island, they set off for the Indian Ocean. However, a dysentery epidemic broke out on the ship, taking numerous victims. In March 1771, HMB Endeavour sailed around the Cape of Good Hope, and after a stop in Cape Town, it sailed off into the Atlantic Ocean. Nearly 3 years after its departure, it arrived at the port of Plymouth in July 1771. The transit of Venus took place on the 3rd of June 1769. To observe it, Charles Green positioned 3 telescopes at 3 locations to avoid any disturbance by unfavorable weather conditions. Unfortunately, however, the atmosphere of Venus blurred its outlines, making it impossible to make precise observations.